want to talk some college football?
Yeah, speaking of championships, so sometimes championships are being paid for, Caleb.
Really?
So as you know, Ohio State won last year, and Ohio State had the biggest NIL deal last year. They spent the most money in NIL and had the most expensive roster, and it was a roster in which they won a championship. So technically, you would say that the NIL worked. Like they put all their chips in all these baskets. They got all these transfers in. They spent all this money to get freshmen and transfers in. And you can't blame them. It worked. They got them a championship. Now, granted, they never beat Michigan in the last 4 years, like at all. That's some may say that that's way more important than winning.
Do you think Ohio State fans are a little like they look at this championship like a little sour because they lost like 2 of their biggest games in the regular season? Like,
so a funny clip that I saw, and it's Cam Hayward's podcast, and he has Jack Sawyer there. Jack Sawyer the host asked, "What would you rather do? Win a national championship and never beat your rival, or always beat your rival but never win a championship?" Because Cam Hayward never lost to Michigan, and Jack Sawyer never beat Michigan in all 4 of their years there. But Jack Sawyer won a national championship and was a big reason why they won a national championship. So, but I think sometimes rivalries are a bit overrated. Now, that one is a very important one to Ohio State and Michigan fans.
Yeah, it's like it's Clemson and South Carolina for people above the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, but they spent the most money. And funny enough, Ohio State, they did spend quite a bit of money this year. They didn't make it into the top 3 spenders. I believe they were actually number 4. But they are actually a team that I do not believe in this year.
Ohio State is a team you don't believe in?
No, I don't. I do not. Because one, too much. They lost so many key pieces on that team, and especially in college football, like high turnover rate when it comes to that, especially like losing that many pros, losing that many leaders, you're going to see a significant drop in there. And on top of that, like the Big 10 or the Mega 10 at this point, because how many teams are in there? Because the Pac-12 went to it. Like,
hey, the Pac-12 is coming back now. They've absolutely pillaged what the MWC had.
Yeah, like it's like the division is so big, like that conference is so big, and like Oregon is still there. Like Michigan is looking to bounce back from last year. They have I think they have the highest paid freshman of all, like right now as well too. Like they are looking. I think Ohio State's going to come down, especially when it comes to like true contenders. The teams I do believe in on this top 25 list, Texas, Clemson, and UGA. The reason why I have UGA on there, and I know a lot of people saying like, well, they lost Carson Beck. Many reports out of Georgia.
I don't know. I watched that playoff. I was very unimpressed by Carson Beck, what I saw from him. I really liked that quarterback they had that came in after Beck got hurt. Whatever his name was, Gunner or something.
Yeah, Stockton, I believe, yes. Gunner. And so a lot of reports out of UGA have said they're actually really happy that Carson Beck left.
Yeah, I would be too.
They said, especially with his whole relationship that he has with a big social media star and also like fellow college athlete.
A little Belichick Hudson.
Yeah, and then he ended up transferring to a school where his girlfriend's playing basketball at. Like it's a lot of people are feeling that the Carson Beck kind of got too big for his britches and then realized that maybe Georgia was a bit of a carry job when he was there. And so they're saying the vibes are a lot better now that he's not there, which is a little bit odd because, you know, Carson Beck was a very talented quarterback. And
he was a shoo-in first-round pick before this season, and everything just kind of fell apart.
Yeah. Texas, I mean, it's Arch Manning's year to finally shine about it. He did sit behind Ewers and all that stuff. And I do think that Texas just has a really good roster as well, too. Steve Sarkisian has continued to prove and improve and improve. And so I think it's finally, this would be the time. But I do think that like the big one is the fact that like Clay Kubnik, former Texas guy, like out there in Clemson, like that Clemson team is actually a really talented team. And it's a really deep quarterback, like college football quarterback landscape is really good this year. Like the amount of potential first round prospects that we have. I mean, the quarterback out there at, I believe South Carolina is really good. He's getting first round odds. I mean, obviously Arch Manning. You also have the Cade Klubnik out there in Clemson. But the funny other teams that I don't believe in, the team outside of Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Penn State. Until James Franklin shows that he can win a meaningful game in the playoffs, I'm not going to believe in them. They have a really talented team. I'm not arguing that. Like Drew Allard is a really talented quarterback. He's also one of those quarterbacks that are getting first round considerations going into this upcoming draft class for the NFL. But until James Franklin proves to me that he can actually win big, meaningful games, I'm not going to invest my stock into them. And I also think that they've gotten better overall, but I don't think like Ohio State still has the probably arguably the best player in the country with their wide receiver.
Yep, Jeremiah Smith.
Jeremiah Smith is a dog. If you think Marvin Harrison was good, this dude is like insane.
I mean the circles that I'm in, they're like, yeah, we should like take our season to get that guy last year.
Mm-hmm. And then the funny thing is like how I mentioned about UGA and Carson Beck. So last year, if you don't remember, Carson Beck was the overall unanimous preseason favorite to win the Heisman last year, and he did not win it. The history of the Heisman since the year 2000. Can you guess how many preseason favorites won the Heisman?
3.
Exactly 3. It is Couch, Matt Leinart at USC, and Marcus Mariota at Oregon.
I might have gotten 2 if you asked me to name them. I might have gotten Leinart and Mariota.
Yep, those were the only 3 since the year 2000 to ever be preseason favorites to win the Heisman. Who is this year's preseason favorite? Arch Manning.
Yes, he is plus 700 according to me.
And see, the thing is, I feel like there should be a little bit of an asterisk next to Marcus Mariota. He kind of won by default that year because that was a really bad Heisman race that year. Jameis Winston won it the year before, and Jameis Winston, that Florida State team wasn't. It was good, but they still lost to Marcus. But mind you, like when it comes to the playoffs, like they don't consider postseason success for the Heisman voting. Mm-hmm. Because I believe you win the Heisman before you go to the playoffs, or before you go to the national championship game. And anyways, I think that if all goes well for Arch Manning, that if UT's undefeated and he is the prince that was promised, he probably is going to be the outlier in the fact that the preseason favorite is going to win the Heisman. And more oftentimes than not, like if you think that parity when it comes to the NFL is crazy, like college football parity is insane, especially when it comes to the Heisman. You will never know who will pop off this year.
Yes, for sure. It is definitely a little more unpredictable. At least it didn't always used to be that way.
Back then, like in the BCS era, it's like you know who was good, you know who wasn't good. Like it was nowadays, like you know you can lose a game and be all right. You can lose to your rival and win the national championship. Like back then, that was a huge thing. That was a big thing on the BCS. The computers were like, you lost to your rival. That doesn't sound like you can win a national championship game. Like they would actually put that into account.
Yeah.
We're now, and if we're talking about also Heisman favorites, like outside of like, if you said I could not pick Arch Manning, Jeremiah Smith is like, but it's the thing is about wide receivers is like, that means the quarterback has stupid numbers too. Like has to be. But I do think like Jeremiah Smith could be like how talented he is and how like unbelievably we saw how good he was with Howard, right? I believe that was his name. Will Howard. Like now with a new quarterback, like even if Ohio State doesn't make the playoffs, or even if they are like they barely make it into the playoffs or not the overall seed or something like that, and Jeremiah Smith is like almost touching 2K yards, like more than likely are going to be in the Heisman conversation by the end of the year, barring any injury. Other one is also Cade. If Clemson does really well, if Clemson goes undefeated, like that.
I have recorded a friend who says that he thinks Clemson is going to be not going to be, but he wouldn't be surprised at all if they were the best team in the country.
Yes,
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. They are a very sneaky good team. I think Dabo finally learned his ways about NIL transfers and went full in on that and realized how successful it is. Because remember, he was the only coach that said, I'm not going to do NILs.
Yeah, we're all NIL, name, image, and likeness of Jesus Christ.
Exactly. And then guess what happened? They were doing really bad. And then what happened? He went into that NIL, and then all of a sudden, they are like really good. And I think that it sucks because like I think Clemson would have continued to be really good if he never just did that. If he just continued and ride the wave of what NIL was, because I think he was one of the coaches that was going to survive in it. Like I think there's certain coaches that aren't coaching anymore in college football because they could not handle. Yeah, because they just couldn't handle the NIL anymore. And now because it kind of made everything a fair and even playing field. And speaking of which, would you like to guess the top 3 biggest spenders in NIL this year?
Without looking, because I know the answer is just right on the tabs there.
Oh, my bad. So, yes.
Texas is one of them.
Yes.
Alabama?
No, Alabama's not on that list.
Georgia?
Nope, not Georgia.
Miami?
I think Miami was on there.
Yeah,
I think
because of Carson. They weren't top 3, though.
Yeah, top 3.
It was Texas, Texas Tech, and Ohio State.
Texas Tech. Oh, my God. So Texas Tech reportedly is $35 million in NIL. That's the second highest. So, and mind you, that's the only, there's like, when it comes to NIL, it's a little bit weird, like when it comes to investing, because like there's like numbers that have to do with NIL specifically. And there's also investing into the team also, which is like weird. It's not considered NIL, but like there's always like these random numbers. So like you don't get no true number. So for instance, Texas is number 1 because supposedly it's between 35 mil and 40 million. They have heard the range between those numbers. So they say it's a little bit spent more than Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech says, some sites say 35 million and some say $55 million. Now, the notable booster of this, Cody Campbell of the Matador Club, he's a billionaire. And then he said, we are going to buy the best team that money can buy. And seeing that Ohio State did that and it worked, seeing that in years prior, like Michigan State, for instance, when the transfer portal was available, Michigan State had a complete turnaround of a year. And they went like, I think they were like a really bad team. And then is it Mel Tucker who was their head coach? And then they ended up like having a 10-win season after being really bad because about 75% of their team was a transfer.
Yep.
And they had instant success. So it seems that, yes, transfer portal actually works out. It actually works really well, and it pays off.
And the guys who don't use it are suffering.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, the opposite end of that is people who are actually not using NIL at all, like when Clemson was and other teams, they are clearly behind everybody else significantly. And the thing is, Texas Tech is currently ranked 21st in the nation. They, across all media, sports media, they have said that this is the A++ of offseason. They are beating out everybody. Now, granted, they're paying such a premium to play in Lubbock, Texas. Now, I've never been to Lubbock, Texas. I am from Texas. I know a lot of things about Texas. And they say there's only 2 things to do out in Lubbock, Texas. Go to a Raiders game and then see a tumbleweed. That's about it. It is nothing to do out there like that. And the notable one,
the Cole Wetzel song makes it sound so much more fun than it is.
Yes. But the notable transfer, obviously, is going to be their, not transfer, but like the NIL deal. Their freshman offensive tackle signed a 3-year, fully guaranteed $5.1 million NIL deal. And you had to pay a premium to bring people to Lubbock. And I mean, and fair point, if you have the money to bring people to Texas Tech, be my guest. It is going to be crazy because if Tech actually gets into the playoffs, like that's even an insane statement to say that Texas Tech is going to make it into the like college football playoffs. Like you would have enough data to show that paying for players wins in college football. And some might say is that's what we've always been doing already. We are just now legally doing
it. Now
it.
Everybody can do it.
Yeah, and it's the Wild West. There's no rules. There's like no regulation to any of this stuff. Like there's now like give it 10 years time. We're going to hear some crazy horror stories about the NIL, like about some of these players may financially being screwed. I mean, there was that the player from Florida that got screwed over when he got drafted by the Bears because in his NIL clause it said that they own 25% of all his NFL contract for the rest of his life.
Ugh.
Like,
brutal.
Holy crap, dude. Can you imagine you're giving yourself a quarter of your paycheck goes to this deal that you signed at a 17 years old? That sucks. And there ain't nothing you could do about it legally because you signed the contract. And then he was like, I forget the player's name, but that's like, you're going to hear stories like that. And also, you're going to hear stories about players getting a sick NIL deal, like this offensive tackle who, like, there's so many 5-stars that bust out. There's so many 5-stars that end up transferring, and then they're like, they become middle of the pack. They still get drafted in the NFL because they were a 5-star. But like, I don't blame these kids where they're like, bro, I've never seen a dime like that. And you're telling me you're giving me $5 million, 3 years, fully guaranteed just to play offensive line? Like at Tech, I was going to play offensive line anywhere. I'm going to play it for $5 million. Like, you can't blame them. So it's very interesting to see the NIL landscape and seeing like these crazy deals because the money's only getting bigger.
Yeah.
Like and on top of these too, like some of these private, like Michigan's like multi-billion, like Michigan has the biggest alumni base out of all major like Power 5 teams. Like they are going to get people that are going to spend, they would give whatever they can to see Michigan win a like national championship. And the pride that people have for college football, like what school did you go to, Caleb?
University of New Hampshire.
Can you imagine if, like, let's say you're a billionaire, like Caleb, hey, can you stroke us a check to give us like $40 million to help us win a national championship?
For an FCS championship? No, get the fuck out of
No,
my
I mean like D1, like a D1 one. Like, can you imagine that? Like, and they're going to all these boosters like, you would do anything for a national championship.
If I had the money to throw at it, sure.
Yeah. I think because I
might be the wrong person to ask because I did not go to a school that was worth watching.
Well, granted, I mean, that's how they feel about Texas Tech. Some of them people, like, but even when they had Patrick Mahomes, it wasn't like they was winning anything. But the thing is that these people, when it comes to being alums, like they have such college pride. Like, and you've seen that the fanatics that are with college football, like even the people who have never went to that school that have that pride of like these universities, they would give an arm and a leg to make sure that they beat their rival or they win a national championship because they feel like it's bragging rights. Like that's more, it's more competitive.
Listen, I still scoff when I walk by somebody in a UMaine polo. Like,
exactly. Like it's like these people will do whatever it takes to win. Like it's another level of bragging rights. Like, you know, the same thing about like NFL owners, right? It's 32 rich people that want to brag that they're playing real life fantasy football. Like, and it's just, they just want to brag to their rich billionaire friends that they beat them at a competition of managing a football team. So now imagine that money, but like times 100 because like universities make so much money. They're signing all these crazy deals. And on top of that, their alumni bases is like an never ending cash flow. Like Tom Brady's a University of Michigan alum. Like, what he would give to see Michigan win again, or Charles Woodson, or Jake Long, or even all the probably unbelievably smart people that we never saw on the field just to have school pride of their team winning. And I think like, I love it because I think it creates so much different stories, so much different parity. And I think going into the NIL era of college football, you're going to see not only different teams like go into the college football playoffs, like you're now showcasing that it doesn't matter where you go anymore as a college kid. As long as you showcase your skill, you're going to be put on TV. Go get the money because life is too short. You never know how good you're going to be for how long. And on top of that, like if Texas Tech goes to the college football playoffs, I think it's like it's over with. Like that is the formula. Like if that formula works, like that means anybody and anybody, like all the alumni base has to do is just like, oh, look, Tulane's going to win a national championship. Like, that's what's end up going to happen. And then, which is great because it's cool because now you're creating a whole nother generation of like, you're never going to have the same championship over and over. You're never going to see repeats. You're going to see Heisman trophies in different cabinets all across this country now. It isn't just the true blue bloods anymore. And now it's I think it's the most fair it's ever been now. And I
the playing
absolutely
field is
love it.
much more even, and I think the sport's benefiting for it for sure.
Yeah, and you get also crazier stories like the whole Tennessee quarterback situation. Remember that it wasn't even him wanting more money, it was his people who wanted more money, that he was underpaid because he took Tennessee to a playoffs. And then they're like, you know what, dude, just leave. And then he ends up
Wasn't
going to
ready
UC.
for it. Yeah, wasn't ready for it.
There's a blessing and a curse when it comes to that, right? Like it is good that the coaches do actually have a backbone, because we needed to see that for because if the University of Tennessee would have caved into that and let Nico literally dictate how much he was going to get paid, that was a domino effect that the college football landscape was not ready to see. Because at that point, let's say Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State wins, he already won a national championship. Let's say he goes for 2,000 yards and wins a Heisman. He literally goes, I'm underpaid. And what's going to happen? He's now going to go to the highest bidder for his junior season. They'll only play 1 year. And then, granted, with all these, like I just said, like all these teams with big state pride, like what is Michigan going to do to pay to get Jeremiah Smith, a Heisman winner? Yeah.
Can you imagine how bad he'd get booed?
Yeah, you 100%. And that's why I think like that's what makes all of this so fun, is the fact that now it's literally the Wild West. I cannot wait.
Listen, you're getting a guy like me from the Northeast who, the college football in the Northeast doesn't matter. Like we have Boston College and Syracuse. How much college football do you think I'm watching beforehand? Yeah,
but now, like, granted, there's some pretty rich alums over there.
Yeah, so but BC is one of those weird schools where they're not keen on doing transfer portal stuff. I think Bill O'Brien talked about that on Edelman's podcast when he went on last year. They're one of those. It's a weird situation. But now I'm following teams not in the Northeast because just to make it more interesting. And I'm following along and I'm getting invested in several teams. One of them being the number, what were they ranked? They were ranked pretty high. 11 Arizona State. Like, yeah, it's a fun school.
Crazy.
Like, and I'm following it from a guy from New Hampshire. Like,
look at the top 25 right there, right? Yep. Like there are some teams on here that you would have never seen in the BCS.
Kansas
State, Illinois, SMU, like Indiana, Iowa State, Texas
Boise
Tech.
State.
I mean, kind of, because they were in the BCS. They were highly ranked plenty of years in, but not consistently.
No, they'd have like one generational talent per.
But
maybe they're just coming off of the legs of that. Like
how weird, like, and this is for anybody who's played NCAA in the past years, and you play it way too many times, and all of a sudden, like, Western Kentucky wins a national championship. This is what this is now. There's no more blue bloods anymore like that. It's literally like, I'm literally looking at a screen where Illinois is the 12th ranked team. Arizona State is the 11th ranked team. SMU is 16. Iowa State, Indiana. Like the crazy story about Indiana. Remember how good they were last year? Like, and Signetti and all that stuff. Like, what a great story that was. Like, you are going to get way more stories. You're going to get way more. Like, I just think it's fun now. I truly believe that it's fun. The transfer portal is insane as well too. I never did like the fact that you were punishing kids to not go. Like, if a coach can literally go get a new job somewhere else, why can't the kid go get that? I think that was just kind of low key, kind of a scheme by the education. Like, in this country, I just think that they were like, nah, you can't transfer. You got to sit here for like 2 years, or you got to sit.
Not even going to use you. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, and also retrospectively, like, how fun would it have been, like, in the BCS era to see the transfer portal like that? Like, Cam Newton would have not stand behind Tim Tebow for a second. Like, he would have been gone out of Florida. That, or like teams, like how many teams would have flip flop? How many different teams you would have saw in the national championship? Like, Bama would have not had its dominance that it did. Like, and you wouldn't, but also you don't get stories like, maybe you don't get a Joe Burrow story anymore, which was a transfer. Like, you know, maybe he goes somewhere else, or same thing with like, you know, to an extent of like, you don't have Russell Wilson doesn't have to, like, he doesn't have to be a graduate transfer and he just leaves and goes anywhere he wants. Like, I think we're in a wonderful place in college football, but it's
agree.
scary
I agree.
because it's literally the Wild West. But, you know, and